All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for more My Hero Academia. And also, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whichever you celebrate on this day with your loved ones. I hope you have a merry one. It's the holiday season with a whoop-dee-doo and dickory-dock, and I'm so glad we got My Hero in stock, and it's coming down the chimney down. But I'm done singing. Sorry, I got this stuff on because this is some of the things I got as a Christmas gift. I got a brand new bomber jacket, which is sick, by the way. If only the collar was just a little bit higher, this could be the closest I get to a Satoru Gojo jacket. And, of course, a brand new beanie as well. I didn't even notice that the hook was in the top of this hat when I was wearing it. I didn't even know. But I got myself a brand new beanie, because my family knows how to gives me some good Christmas stuff. Good to see you, Spoon! Last we left off in My Hero Academia, we recounted the events of Himiko Toga versus Tsu and Uraraka, and the moment where Kurogiri appeared and teleported them pretty much to the Gunga Mountains, where Endeavor and Dabi and all of them appeared. And due to the events of that, Uraraka and Asui keep up with Himiko Toga, trying to appeal to Himiko Toga the whole time, but Himiko has basically lost it, and now she just wants to use the full brunt of Twice's quirk. The full brunt of Twice's quirk in order to exact revenge on the hero. Specifically, Hawks, since Hawks was the one who killed Twice. So what we're left with in the last chapter is just a massive tsunami of Twice doubles doing Sadman's parade, as the entirety of the mountain starts to fill up with Twice clones. So let's go ahead and get started with chapter 376, and we get a beautiful cover spread here with a lot of the people in like fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons type gear. Like you get Ida, you get Kaminari, Endeavor, Aizawa Sensei, Uraraka, we got Hawks, we got Kirishima, Midoriya, Shoto, and Bakugo all up in here. It's been a hot minute since we last saw All Might. I wonder what he's doing. But we got the whole crew, and now we get to see what happens in chapter 376 on Knife's Edge. And then it cuts to the trees. It cuts to the forest, because apparently it's starting to rain right now due to all the firepower that was going on being used by Dabi and Endeavor and Shoto. All that fire, all that heat has caused a massive storm to just appear over everyone now. But it cuts to Uraraka and Tsu as they get whipped into the portal through with Kurogiri after Himiko Toga. And there's just an endless sea of Twice doubles. Endless sea of Twice doubles that is just below them as they come tumbling in. We still haven't had our chat about romance! And then this is Uraraka thinking this. And then it cuts to one of the Twice doubles that sees them and goes, "Can't take a hint." And then it cuts to Himiko, who appears out of these clones going, "I'm not some blushing schoolgirl in love anymore. You got that, hero?" And then it cuts to all the Twice doubles, piling on to the heroes, with Pixie Bob going, "Fall back for now! Get behind my earthen wall!" Then it cuts to Kamui Woods with the Shroom Girl. "Again? Really? I can't spread my spores with all this fire shroom." And then it cuts to Mad Dog, who goes, "Get those tied up villains out of here or else they'll burn to a crisp." And mind you, there's not only Twice doubles, but also fire from Dabi that's in the entire environment as well. And then it cuts to Tsu. "Not just Kurogiri, Dabi's here too. I hope Todoroki and Shoji are okay." And then it cuts to Jiro and Tsukuyomi. "Uravity! Froppy! Tsukuyomi! Earphone jack!" The battle is doomed to devolve into chaos. "Oh no, Kyoka, your ear!" And they see that Jiro, her earlobe got sliced off due to that one attack from All for One much earlier on. "Oh no, Kyoka, your ear!" "I count myself lucky that this is all the Demon Lord took from me. Since the Twice army came out of the same warp gate as you two, I'm guessing that's actually Toga? All of Japan will be buried unless we stop her, goes Uraraka. Then Tsukuyomi again. But Dabi's raging heat is far too fierce. Toga keeps multiplying despite the fire, so all we can do is flee. Then it comes to Dabi, who's just floating in front of Endeavor, who's defending himself from a bunch of Twice clones. This is no proper battle. Not anymore. The strategy to divide and conquer has failed. And then it cuts to Endeavor. Those flames on his chest. Is that the phosphor move Shoto mentioned? Toya, what'd you do to Shoto? I was hoping to bring you his head, but he's a tough cookie. Now my grand dream will never come true. But at the very least, I'll take as much as I can. Whatever you hold dear, whatever you try to protect. Then it cuts to All For One, who sees all this going on. The wind now blows my way. Cascading chains of events. They're all working in my favor. Kurogiri probably warped himself to Tomura's location. Optimally, I would have obtained that long-range warp quirk for myself, since it's superior to my imperfect sludge warp. Yo, so that's what it's called. It's called sludge warp. That little warp thing that popped out of their mouths earlier on when All Might almost grabbed him during the events of when All For One and All Might had their final fight. That's what it's called. We now get a name. It's called a sludge warp. Kurogiri probably warped himself to Tomura's location. Optimally, I would have obtained that long-range warp quirk for myself, since it's superior to my imperfect sludge warp. Not that it matters. I'll ride this wave of chaos and get myself to Tomura. As All For One launches, he launches into the air, hoping to make his way towards Tomura. And then it shows Hawks defending... Oh, it's not Hawks defending himself. It cuts to All For One who basically just launches his entire body, including his face, towards Hawks, and Hawks gets hit hard enough in his forehead that it actually starts to bleed. And then All For One speaks. Oh, Hawks, you should face up to Bubai Gawada's dying wish. We know that, and then it cuts to Hawks, who goes, we know that the perfect rewind puts you on a timer, but you sure seem in an awful hurry, pal. What, don't you have faith in Shigaraki? In that perfect body of yours? So discerning. In the truest sense, that body is not yet complete. There's a reason why this version of me is still essential. Oh, let me guess. He intends to assimilate himself into Shigaraki so he can have complete control. Because the consciousness of All For One is not enough. Let me guess. I'm just guessing here. Does he want to join with the ever-evolving body of Shigaraki to make it completely his own? So that way he can gain all that power and still be All For One? Because what we thought would be a timer where he would just fade away to nothing. No, this brother still got some plans. In the truest sense, that body is not yet complete. There's a reason why this version of me is still essential. Endeavor! And then it cuts to Hawks going, Endeavor! The divide and conquer plan is a bust! Our allies can't battle in this nasty heat, and if we fall here, the villains are gonna converge on Deku and Tomura! Please, put a stop to Toya! Such a cruel command for that one-armed, half-conscious fellow. As you so nicely put it, defeating me post-haste is his mission here, yet you tell him to abandon his duty. That's enough bullcrap out of you! After all, you already lost once to our number one. He ain't abandoning any duty. Splitting hairs, I see. And then it cuts to Toya. Who's speeding towards Endeavor. And then it cuts to Endeavor. Duty. This time, I'm really seeing you. And then it just cuts to Endeavor just standing there looking on. See, we don't get explained. We don't get explained what All For One's plan actually is. The One Piece image is still up on screen. Oh, right. Right. My bad. I forgot to take that logo off. Sorry, I was in a hurry. My apologies. Now it's correct. At least I did this. At least I fixed it before. At least I fixed it before the stream was over, and at least I got it fixed now. Sad Man's Parade, the One Piece image is still on screen. Earphone Jack got nerfed, I guess. Maybe just a little. Vomit Warp. Why doesn't All For One give Toya a regeneration quirk or an immunity to fire that would make him OP? I mean, that will require him to get an immunity to fire type quirk. But also, the reason why he can't put too much quirks into Toya's body is simply because the body of a person who already has a quirk is not meant to hold a whole bunch of quirks within them. It causes irregularities in their entire body. Spinner is a fantastic example of this. When he had his regular quirk, he was fine. He was just a heteromorphic-looking person. But when it came to heteromorphic lizard person, but when it came to him getting that muscle strength quirk within him, it pretty much embiggened him, but also caused his mind to pretty much snap to the point where he was literally drooling at the mouth, and he was just basically a caveman with absolutely no purpose. Then when he got the Scalebound or whatever it's called, Scalebound's that canceled Xbox game. When he got that other quirk, it drove him even crazier. So the body of a person who already has a quirk cannot handle a whole bunch of quirks in them. Whereas Midoriya and All Might, they're examples of people who are able to deal with quirks with multiple quirks layered on top of each other with absolutely no drawbacks to their bodies, simply because they're quirkless. Isn't Dabi part Nomu, though? No, he is not part Nomu. He was regenerated using All For One. All For One didn't give him a regeneration quirk, but he used certain quirks to heal Toya, to heal Dabi. But Dabi is not part Nomu. He just got healed. That's it. That's it. He didn't get no special addition to his own quirks or any buffs to his quirk. He's just using the same one quirk he's have all this time, except he's using it to the point where he's literally going to burn his body from the inside out. That's the thing. So, no, Dabi is not part Nomu. But at first, he was seen as a potential vessel. That All For One would inhabit at one point, which is why he was in that hospital with all those other children. A hospital that All For One had in order to see if someone would be a potential vessel for him for his plan to further his plans further down the line. That which Shigaraki later became his new vessel. So when everything went down, Dabi escaped and he went out on his own and he eventually became a villain, but he's always had that one fire quirk within him. He never had like an additional one. Matter of fact, let me pull up Toya Todoroki and just go down to his quirks. So he only has Blue Flame. That is only Blue Flame. Grants the ability to generate and control highly destructive blue flames from his body. That's all he has. And it's even more powerful than Endeavor's Hellflame quirk, due to the fact that the deeper, the higher color a flame goes, the hotter it actually is. So Endeavor's is like the classic yellow, red, orange, whereas Dabi's is obviously the blue color. And blue flames are far more dangerous than red flames. I mean, if you've seen Avatar The Last Airbender, you would know that Azula's firebending is far more destructive and far more dangerous than Zuko's firebending, simply because she is on a higher plane of her bending, and her flames are on a higher plane as well. But he does not have any other quirks. He has ultimate moves such as Flash Fire Fists, and then Hell Spider, Jet Burn, Prominence Burn, and then Phosphor. But that's it. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have anything else. though his body has clearly shown that it cannot stand up to his own quirk. And he's pretty much ignoring the fact that this quirk is damaging his body to the point where it's pretty much driven him insane. Where do you think the story will go from here? What do you think the end goal is? I'm kind of finding Uraraka's side of the story unengaging. I told you, well, I said this before, it's not a matter of it being unengaging, it's just that for so many chapters we were so used to a whole bunch of fights going on. So it's not that it's unengaging, it's just that this is a break from basically all the high-octane chapters that we had. And these type of chapters we actually need. We do need Uraraka's side of the story because I hate loose ends. And that's one side of the story that we needed to come back to. Because it's one thing of hoping that, I hope we just stick with only the major fights of Midoriya versus Shigaraki, or the heroes versus Dabi and everyone else. But we do, in fact, need to tie up all these loose ends that were featured prominently before this major fight went down. So these chapters are, in fact, necessary due to us making sure that there are not any lingering issues once the story is over. Because it'd be one thing to be like, well, I hope we never get back to Uraraka or anything like that because I don't find it engaging. Then we go through the story and we never find out what happened during that moment of Uraraka's side, even though it was a very important piece because Uraraka is necessary to get to Himiko Toga due to their similarities and as far as affections go. Then we still need to square up the whole matter with Fat Gum with Aoyama as they're facing off against that one Tartarus member whose name still escapes me. That's one thing we have yet to go back to. So I hope we go back to it soon because that's one matter that we have never seen the start of. We've seen everyone's fighting, but we never went back to Fat Gum and Aoyama versus that one Tartarus prisoner. We've never seen it. We've never seen it yet. So these chapters, they are in fact necessary. Some may consider these moments with Uraraka unnecessary and unengaging, but that's because a lot of people are spoiled on all the high octane and straight up action that we've been seeing for the past several chapters in a row. But it is necessary for us to get these chapters where things just chill out a little bit and we focus on another matter entirely. There's still loose ends to cover for this entire massive war that's going on. These chapters are necessary. They're not optional, they are necessary because they play into the overall narrative. Because if we didn't have this Uraraka moment where she's trying to go after Himiko Toga, we never would have seen more of the events that were going on where All For One is desperately trying to get his way to Tomura simply because he sees that Tomura is not yet complete. Despite having his original quirk in him, All For One still has an underlying motive to trying to get to Shigaraki before his time runs out. And I honestly feel that he's trying to get to Shigaraki so he can become one with Shigaraki's new evolved body, take control of it, and become the newest version of himself. The newest, constantly evolving, ever powerful, all-consuming version of himself. Because Hawks knows that he's on borrowed time, but in his desperation, he's trying to get to Shigaraki as quickly as possible because he's still an essential piece to Tomura becoming complete. And when I say essential piece, I literally think it means essential piece, as in he is necessary in order to complete Shigaraki's full transformation. Because with all that power Shigaraki has, you think All For One is just going to let himself fade and then leave up Shigaraki's body to being taken over by his consciousness inside of his original quirk in him? No. All For One's not the type of individual to just allow himself to just simply fade away. He always has a motive. This dude does plans years in advance. There's no way this man was going to let an evolved, powerful body, more powerful than his own, exist and he not own it. So I honestly feel like All For One's goal is to get to Shigaraki, to assimilate into him, become one with him. This is a very wild into left field type theory I got, but the way he says that he's still a very essential piece to Shigaraki's full completion, it makes me think that he's going to try and become one with Shigaraki's body so he can take it over. So that's what I think is going to go on. We still got other things. Let me move this phone off of here so it doesn't go off into my mic again. We still got other matters to cover concerning My Hero Academia. And I honestly can't say what do I think the end goal is. For All For One, I think it's to become one with Shigaraki, take over his body, and then All For One continues to exist in a brand new powerful body that is powerful beyond quirks. Because Shigaraki's body still shifts around and transforms while he's under the effects of Aizawa's erasure quirk. So, like I said, All For One is not going to let a power that's more powerful than him, more evolved than him, exist and he not have control of it. So what better way to do that than to become one with the body that houses this power and then take it for himself and therefore never have to worry about fading from existence. He continues to exist in a brand new, more powerful body that goes beyond quirks. That's how I feel. That's what I feel he's going to do. That's what I feel. But we'll just have to see. We're just going to have to see what happens in the next chapter. Let me look at the list. When is the next chapter supposedly supposed to come out? Because if Shonen Jump is going on break, yeah, they're going on break for 12 days. We're not getting anything from My Hero Academia. And I imagine the same is said for Jujutsu. Yes, it is. So, like I said, Spoon, I can't exactly. Also, hey, Grant Dolman, hope you had a good day with your family. Oh, there's still some moments to be had. I just came up here so that way I can do all of my reactions and get them knocked out so I can spend the rest of Christmas with the family. I'm not going to do any game streams today. That'll be tomorrow. Since I'm already caught up on Dragon Ball, I can continue with Marvel's Midnight Suns. But that's what I think All For One's plan is. Because just from the words he said, matter of fact, let me go back to his words. Let me go back to his words because they were specifically emboldened. They were specifically in bold when he says, because at first he wanted, because if Kurogiri ported himself to where All For One is, All For One intended to take Kurogiri's warp quirk, because it's far superior to his sludge warp quirk. And if All For One were to get his hands on Kurogiri and take his warp quirk away from him, then All For One would have been able to teleport basically anywhere he wanted. But he's just taking everything in stride and trying to make his way to Shigaraki. But Hawks is blocking him. But he says, in the truest sense, that body is not complete yet when he's talking about Shigaraki. There's a reason why this version of me is still essential, which is the original All For One. Because I honestly feel like the original All For One intends to take over Shigaraki's body. Not just mentally, with the consciousness in his quirk, but physically as well. It's like a John Carpenter's Thing situation. He intends to assimilate himself into Shigaraki and then continue to exist. That's how I feel. That's just how I feel. I'm not going to try and assume to know what Horikoshi is going to do with this story, but we just got to be patient and wait until this break is over to see where the story goes from here. I really hope we cut to Aoyama and Fat Gum with the Tartarus prisoner, because that's still one loose end that has to be tied up. There's not much else going on right now that doesn't need to be tied up other than that. We are all up to date with what's going on with Uraraka and company. We haven't seen Midoriya and his friends in a minute since Kurogiri ported in, so that's still one thing. But Aoyama and Fat Gum probably needs to be the next thing we cover since we haven't seen them in literal months. It's been months, lots of months, since we last seen Aoyama and Fat Gum against Tartarus. So we don't know what's going on there. So I really hope they cover that. But that's all I got for as far as I want to say about this chapter. It was a good chapter, but the fact that All For One is very, not only just trying to get to where Shigaraki is to lend him a hand, which is what I thought originally, it turns out that there's an ulterior motive to All For One trying to get to where Shigaraki is, which he doesn't fully elaborate on. He's just cryptic as usual, so we're just going to have to see after we're done with this 12-day break for Shonen Jump. I'm done for today, ladies and gentlemen. I got to move on to Jujutsu Kaisen, and let me refresh the page. Is the newest page for the beginning after the end up? It is not. So I'm just going to be waiting today to see if the newest chapter of the beginning after the end drops today, because apparently it's supposed to be dropping today, so I'll keep an eye out for that. But I'm done for today, ladies and gentlemen. All I can say at the end of the day is, Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to all. Enjoy time with your loved ones. All I can say is, hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Me doing my intros and outros. I'm getting messed up because I'm thinking of so many other things. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. See, I'm getting messed up still. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share with everyone you know, because the more the merrier, and maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples, on to Jujutsu Kaisen!